Welcome back to Seeing What You're Missing. In this video, we'll show the new tool features in the latest version of Altium Designer. While Altium Designer has had autocomplete for routing as well as a basic auto routing function, these features do not compete with the results of human-guided routing. ActiveRoute is an improved productivity routing tool that allows for user-directed auto routing of signals. Here we have a number of routes shown on the schematic between two connectors that we will use to demonstrate active routing. Looking at the rules, we can see that there are a number of rules associated with these connections. One is the length rule, and the other two rules are length matching rules. These rules utilize net classes called data and address. ActiveRoute cannot just route these connections, but can also route them based on the length and matching rules that we had set up as well. To open up the PCB ActiveRoute panel, use the shortcut key Shift-A. You can also use the panel select button and pick PCB ActiveRoute. To select these nets to route, select the connection lines by holding the Alt key down and selecting using the mouse right to left rectangle method. The alternative is to hand select the pads. Now to enable the tuning of the routes, select the Tune Selected checkbox and pick the match length rules that apply to these nets. In this case, it would be both rules. Next, enable both signal layers to provide enough routing capacity. With the connection lines highlighted and all of our setup done, we can click on ActiveRoute. While this worked, the routing is somewhat spread out. There is another option that can be useful, and that is the Route Guide feature. I would use this when wanting to keep an area clear of routes. Unrouting everything, we reselect the connection lines and then click on the Route Guide. This allows us to place guides on the PCB for where we want the routing to follow. Right-click to end adding the guide. Now re-click the ActiveRoute button and see the results. Let's select the last two signals not routed and use the Route Guide to direct the traces around the board cutouts, purposefully placing the Route Guide badly so that we can demonstrate the gloss feature. Selecting the tracks that we want to clean up or gloss, hit Tab to get all of the tracks included in the selection. We use the Route pull-down menu and select Gloss Selected option. As you can see, this cleans up the tracks. Let's turn our attention to the Layer Stack Manager next. Opening up the expansion board project, there have been a number of updates and additions that have been made to the Layer Stack Manager, providing the basis for new capabilities. First, to open up the Layer Stack Manager in the PCB, we use the Design pull-down menu, selecting Layer Stack Manager. This will open up a new active document showing the current PCB stackup. Here we see the various layers. We can edit layers using the Properties panel. Simply select the entry to edit, and then in the Properties panel we can make the edits. Here we can change the name, the material being used, and other properties as needed. Of significance is the Board section of the Properties panel. The Stack Symmetry checkbox has been checked. And this will affect adding or removing layers as the tool will maintain symmetry. Adding layers is done using the mouse, right-clicking on the layer and selecting either Insert Layer above or below, clicking on the layer type, Signal or Plane. Notice that not one but two layers got added. Again, this is due to the Stack Symmetry checkbox being checked. Unchecking that box allows the user to directly add or remove a single layer by layer. In the Layer Stack Manager under the Via Types tab, we can add via types. You see the default via that starts at layer 1 and goes all the way through layer 4. To add vias, click on the plus sign. It assumes the top layer 1 to layer 2 blind via option. Checking the mirror option, as you can see here, adds the corresponding layer 3 to layer 4 blind matching via. If needed, Altium Designer supports micro vias by clicking on the micro via checkbox. As you can see, the shape of the via has changed, reflecting the fact that it is a micro via. Clicking on the mirror checkbox, as expected, adds the layer 3 to 4 mirrored micro via. The user can add other vias as needed depending on the number of layers. One useful backup for editing is to use the Ctrl-Z key to undo, or to use the icon at the top of the window. Before moving on, let's look at the Feature drop-down menu. This provides for different types of PCB projects. Clicking on the pull-down displays the following options: printed electronics, rigid flex, and back drills. Selecting back drills adds a fourth tab where we can add their definitions. We will explore the other two options in the next video. The other tab at the bottom of the stack-up windows is for impedance. To set up the PCB for impedance-driven routing, click on the Impedance tab. In the right side of the window, there is an Add Impedance Profile button. To drive the creation of impedance traces, we will add the desired targets here. We can set the target impedance and tolerances. In the default profile, we see this set up for 50 ohms, and it's called S50. Changing to a target of 45 ohms, we see the numbers change for the trace width and the profile name changes to S45. Let's add another 50 ohm profile just for the sake of rule creation. We will use the impedance profiles when we create the PCB rules for the impedance constrained signals. Looking now at the PCB and opening up the rules, we can add a rule for trace width based on those profiles that we just created. Add a new rule width and let's call it width 50. Call out the target nets, and then we click on Use Impedance Profile checkbox. Here we can select between the impedance profiles. Now these signals will be routed with the target impedance that we had set up in the Layer Stack Manager. Looking at the PCB, we can view it both in 2D and 3D. One newer feature that I really enjoy using is the ability to export a 3D PDF file. This file is a portable 3D view of the board and is very handy for documentation or illustrating to others what the board is going to look like. To output a 3D PDF from the PCB view, click on the File pull-down menu and select Export, then 3D PDF. I normally leave the defaults and just hit the Export button. This will generate the PDF file, and then it will open the PDF file. You can manipulate the board in 3D using your mouse, rotating and zooming in and out, as you can see. The Draftsman feature provides a new level of documentation for the board assembly. To create a Draftsman document, click on the project and add New to Project, Draftsman Document. We will select the assembly drawing, but there are many other options and possible full manually created views for the PCB that you could employ. Here you see the resulting Draftsman drawing. Editing and adding to this drawing is done by selecting and editing using the Properties panel. Changing the sheet background color, for example, can be done this way. You can add additional views using the Place pull-down menu. I would normally expect to add dimensions to the drawing as well as notes for assembly. Notice there are a number of possible additions accessed from the Place pull-down menu. Like the schematics and PCB, the Properties panel can be used to edit elements and the page defaults with nothing selected. In our next video, we will look at the new PCB projects now supported.